Hello, humans. Not robots. If you're a robot and you're watching this, get the fuck out. Get out. This is a secret conversation only for humans. So back in August, I was at GenCon and I got to hang out with a bunch of cool people making games, as you do at these conventions. And one of the games that I got exposed to was a game called Inhuman Conditions, and I loved it. I loved it to death. It's a game that essentially takes the sort of secret information interrogation component of Secret Hitler and pairs it up with the voight-kampff test from Blade Runner, and you use this game to determine whether or not the people you are playing with are in fact human beings, or perhaps dirty illegal synthetizoids. What this game does is it gives you all of the tools that you need to play a 5-minute conversation between an interrogator and a potential robot. And by the end of the conversation, one of a handful of things will have happened. You will either have saved the human race from infiltration by a dirty robot, or you will have been horribly murdered by that robot, or made a terrible, terrible mistake. Now, if you're the person being interrogated, you're going to get a card that'll tell you if you're a human, a violent robot, or a patient robot, and it's your job to either express or hide your identity. It's a really elegant design, it's fast to play, and you can play it in a large group over a bunch of rounds. And I think that for me, it solves a ton of the problems that I had with Secret Hitler, where it tended to just be like, here are 10 people yelling at each other for like an hour, which can be fun, but is mostly really stressful. On top of that, the sci-fi angle, the cyborg thing, it's great. I really like it. This is probably my favorite iteration of the kind of robo-AI drama that I've seen in a long time. So let's take a look at some of the components in this game. Here's what you get. I was given a copy of the game. It's a prototype preview version, so there's no box. It's a bunch of miscellaneous components. They're really nice still, and I imagine they're just going to get nicer when they actually get like finished. But the prototype version of the game comes with some roll cards, these little guys. Renowned professor. So these are the RP aspect of the game. These will tell you the suspect is a renowned professor, the suspect is a decorated robot war veteran, the suspect is a reality TV contestant. These are all things that your character might be in the game. If you are the person being interrogated, the interrogator has the role. They're a future cop, but you will get one of these and you'll get to play out a character. I like this because I think it gives you that extra space to obfuscate what you're really thinking and doing. You don't have to just say like, today I woke up and I streamed on Twitch for 4 hours and then I made macaroni and cheese. It adds a layer of RP to the game. It's a very short form, in a way, it's a short form interrogative LARP because of the roll cards, and I think that's super cool. On top of the roll cards, you're going to get one of these. These are your penalties. These are things that calibrate the system. They calibrate the voight-kampff test between the interrogator and the robot, and they let you know if the robot does this, if the person you suspect might be a robot does this, it may indicate their robotness. This reminded me a lot of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, where you're trying to say normal stuff and it's coming out meaning something you didn't intend. So for example, this one is particularly hard for me as a Canadian. One of the triggers is apologize. So if in conversation, if I am the person being interrogated and I'm saying, sorry, excuse me, pardon me, too often, then the interrogator might think that I am a robot. They might think I'm an android. So this is one of the things that you pick on top of your roll to let you know that we have agreed this is a thing that is a flag. This is important. And so the majority of the game just takes place between the two players just asking and answering questions. The interrogator has a set of primary and secondary questions. These list on them questions they can ask to help them figure out whether or not the person they are interrogating is a robot. And these are really interesting because they are sort of a loose game component. You ask these questions, but they're not the exclusive thing that you can ask. So you can make up your own questions, whatever will help lead you to whether or not your person that you're interrogating is a robot. And they are themed by color and by theme. So they match up with the robot cards. So these cards, you are either a human, right? You're either human, or you are a patient robot, or you are a violent robot. The bad kind of robot. I mean, all robots are bad. But the idea here is that when you are being interrogated, the analogy here is sort of like you're either a liberal or a fascist or a Hitler in Secret Hitler. So these things will tell you, as the person being interrogated, the interrogatee, what you need to do to win the game. The interrogator wins the game by determining successfully whether you're a human or a robot. They have one simple task to do. If you are a patient robot, you just have to get through and have the person interrogating you, like, imagine that you're a human. If they stamp that human card, then you win. But you're not allowed to do certain things. So for example, this particular card, this vulnerability activity, means that we can't, if we are the patient robot, we can't describe ourselves taking any physical action. We may use the hypothetical you instead. Now, what's fun about these is that if I do that by accident, I have to perform the penalty to recalibrate. So if the person asked me, what did you do this morning? And I said, I dug a ditch. That's the penalty for the patient robot, because I describe myself taking a physical action. To fix it, I would have to apologize, and that'll recalibrate me. And then I get through. So I'm trying to seem as normal as possible while behaving according to these cards. The violent robot gets to kill the interrogator. They slam their hands on the table or make some other noise indicating we are done and you are dead, if they can perform 2 of the 3 things on their checklist. So for this violent robot, establishing how you got into this situation for 3 different hypothetical situations is 1 check, or reveal 2 facts about yourself that make you uniquely qualified to solve a given problem. That's a check. Also, you can perform the penalty twice. Now, the problem is, if you perform the penalty too often, the interrogator might twig to the fact that you're a robot. They might grab that robot stamp and stamp the card, and now you've lost. So you have to be subtle until you're about ready to commit your violent robot murder. So the game takes place in 5-minute rounds, back and forth, filling out paperwork, figuring out if your friends are robots. And I really like it because of its narrow focus design. I like the fact that the theme is sci-fi, and it's about what it is to be a human or a robot, and it's about paying attention to people. Fundamentally, it's a listening game. You're listening to either the questions the interrogator is asking, or you're listening to the potential robot, hoping that they will slip up. I hope you liked our little look at Inhuman Conditions. It's a game that as soon as I got my hands on it at GenCon, I was in love with, and I'm sure I will be playing it for a great long time. It's available on Kickstarter right now, as of the time of this recording, and if it is not on Kickstarter anymore, I'm sure you'll be able to purchase it in all sorts of exciting locations. Check out your friendly local game store, or, I don't know, the internet. That's where people buy games now. If you are curious about this game, follow them on Twitter. You can follow me. I'm sure I'm going to be talking about it more as it comes out. Yeah, if this is the kind of content that you like seeing, if you're curious about me digging into games like this, tabletop games, a little bit more, I know we've done a little bit of this here and there, mostly on live stream, but let me know in the comments, because this game grabbed my attention particularly because it's so on theme and so much a thing that I'm already interested in. But if there's other stuff you think I should check out or think that I might like, let me know, because I'm always looking for cool games to talk about. That's it. Inhuman Condition. Go look it up. Find out if your friends are robots, because I bet you at least one of them is, and that's the one you got to look out for.